So this is episode 28, Crap to Cream MGB Restoration. So as you may or may not know, I have been trying to get this seal into the bottom rail on the windscreen now for a couple of episodes. And I did a short episode, a 37-second episode of having a go at this at the weekend. So I watched various YouTube videos on how to do this. There's a guy in the US who does it all the time, and he just puts it in the middle, gets a blunt screwdriver and flicks it in. Well, I've tried that. I blunted my screwdriver. All I managed to do when I did that was I managed to push it through the webbing on the side here and break the seal. So I had to get another one. So in the end, when I do this sort of work, I like to go forward all the time. So going forward to me was like partially giving up. So I got in touch with another gentleman who does these all the time in WA, and he wanted 4 hours at $135 an hour to get this seal in for me. So I decided, with the encouragement of Deb, my wife, that I shouldn't give up on this and I should move forward and try and do it myself. So I decided to take the windscreen apart. So it seemed like a relatively straightforward task at the time. However, that came with its own level of challenges. So I've now got everything apart and got all the brackets. So the bottom bracket on the right hand side, this bracket hasn't been off before, I would say since 1978. So it had to be drilled, and then I had to drill and tap these holes here. Now that was a challenge in itself, because the cold chisel that I had to take the top off was just a bit too wide, so I had to modify my cold chisel to get into take that off so that it was flat with the surface inside the rail here, and then I had to drill it. Now the screws are made out of steel, so they're harder than the aluminium, so it's very important to make sure you center pop any remaining thread in here so that the drill doesn't drift off and go into the aluminium, because then you just end up with holes all over the place looking very ugly and not very good at all. So I flattened the top off, then I center popped the holes, and I've drilled them out and I've tapped them out now. So that's all fixed. This one's all fixed now. So this one came apart a lot easier, and I would say that windscreen has been replaced before, and they only took one side off, and that's why this side was very easy to do and the other side was very difficult. So I have now proved to myself that I can get the seal in here very easily. So I just started to show, just to push it in. So this is the way I'm going to do it. Now, back in 1980 something, when I last did one of these, this was how I did it. Put a load of washing up liquid on the rail and then slid it in from left to right. So that's the way I'm going to do it now. So I've done it twice since I've taken the windscreen apart. It took me about 2 minutes with a lot of washing up liquid on here, sliding it in, and then leaving the two ends exposed so that I can then put the two brackets in the end and screw them in, and then just put the end of the seals back in here to cover this up. This all came apart relatively easily, the top section, because it doesn't see much rain, I'm assuming, but the bottom section, yeah, that had its challenges. The brackets are corroded, as you can see by this one here, quite badly corroded, and the threads stick through, so they corrode on the back and then you can't get them out and they just sheared off. So I had to drill these out to get these brackets out. So I'm going to drill these out now and tap them out so that I can reuse that. The two top ones, they came out fine, threads are all good. So the other bottom one on the other side was okay, that passed the test. So that's it. This is a array of tools that I had to use to get to where I got to. And this is only a part of it. So there are different types of tap wrenches. This one I found the best one to get load on and working in tight spaces. So this one was a lot better than the one that came with the drill and tap set, tap and die set, sorry. So yeah, so now I'm just waiting for some. There's a whole raft of screws that are not in very good condition, so I'm going to get some new screws for this. I've got the seal, so I've spent a few hours now cleaning everything up, making sure everything's nice and clean. You can see the date on there. So it's 1978. I think this one's a bit clearer. Yeah, 19th of the 6th, 1978. I'm not sure whether you can see that, but that's when that one was made. All right, so that should be it now, I think. Just waiting for some parts. And then I can put these together. So I've got new ones of these. I bought these for the original because they just bent coming apart. And for what they are, it's relatively straightforward. My original ones didn't have any of these strips in them, which they go. So this one goes and holds it on the actual frame, and then these go over the top and hold the actual seal in place. The rod, I'm going to give that a bit of a clean up. The rod from the center screen, that needs got a bit of corrosion on it, so I'll clean that all up and paint that. And then we'll put the windscreen back together again.